What's going on? Welcome to another episode that we're all casually late for. It was actually Russ's fault. I was definitely on time.
Totally.
It was my fault this time.
Yeah,
I'll give
and
it
the first episode where we actually have snakes to show off because it's better than looking at our faces. So, so we were just talking backstage about a friend of Russ's that has a 13-year-old corn snake.
Yeah.
So I want to continue that conversation because I just feel like we don't hear enough about animals that are over 10 years old. I know some people who have some, but usually when you talk to people that, the animals are a year old, 3-4 years old, it's kind of rare, And my oldest animal is one that I didn't have from a baby, but she's 4. So I don't know. I always trip out about that. I know one person who has a 21-year-old snake, which I personally think is super awesome.
What was Megan was saying puppy she's had for how many years? 15?
15, I think. 14, 15, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's a trip. I feel like I know a couple people who have older anacondas. I'm not sure if it's what the reasoning is, but I definitely don't know too many people who have older retics.
Yeah, I don't know. Other than Garrett, what is that? Is it Karma? How old is Karma?
Oh, I have no idea. I know Karma was Rob's snake, I think, to begin with, if I remember correctly, and just recently they kind of worked something out where Karma could stay at the facility or whatever because they had space to build such a large enclosure or whatever.
Yeah,
it's hard to say.
I've been fangirling over everybody that got to go to Retech Fest.
Yeah.
All the pictures and stuff with Karma. That's freaking awesome.
I had originally, I was kind of planning on going, and then I decided not to. And seeing all the pictures and videos and stuff, I was like, man, I kind of wish I would have. Man, it really looked like a good time. Especially, and for me, it's kind of like going to a reptile expo. It's really fun to see all the animals, but the thing I enjoy the most is talking to all the people and going to somewhere like that where you just have so many people all in the same place,
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I'm trying to change that.
To be honest,
there we go.
Did you get it?
There we go. Now we can see us better.
Oh Lord, there we are.
Yeah. We'll just put the snakes up in front of our faces.
Yeah. As we get. What's up, bud?
Ooh.
So how was everyone's weekend? You guys do anything cool or?
No. Cleaned frog shit off of the enclosure. He smeared it all over the walls.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I had one crested gecko that was a notorious front of the glass pooper. And I don't have, two of my good friends have my crested geckos now, but I have my tokay and he does the same thing. Or honestly, I think it's a she, but since I don't know, I've just always said he. So yeah, he hides all day, and then at night, as soon as I turn the lights out, he's right up on the front of the glass, and it's just a notorious front of the glass pooper, peer, just drips down the front. I gotta clean it every other day.
That is the frog. Yeah, I've never had an amphibian before, and yeah.
So what kind of frog is it?
So it's a white tree frog.
Oh, okay.
They're really cool, but the poop thing was not expected.
I like the Pac-Man frogs. I don't know what it is. They're just big old fat chonkers, and they come in cool colors and stuff. I've always kind of wanted a Pac-Man frog.
Yeah, I like Pac-Mans. It's just kind of like having a pet rock, but
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
They are cool to look at.
The only thing about frogs is because I smoke, so it's I can't hold a frog and not wear gloves.
Sure.
Because
yeah.
Well, I wouldn't advise it even if you didn't smoke, though.
Yeah.
So they can absorb like toxins and things from your skin, right? Is that the reason?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lotions, anything you put on, they can absorb it through their skin.
Anytime I go and smoke a cigarette, like I'll wash my hands before I hold the snakes with like Dawn dish soap. I'll scrub my hands real good, but I mean, I'm not as concerned about my snakes absorbing anything from my skin as I would with like amphibians and things. So,
Well, yeah, because they're really not going to.
I think that with the snakes, it's more of the smell because, like they can smell so well. So that's why I wash my hands because I don't want them to be like, damn, you smell like an ashtray. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, to all the girlfriends, boyfriends, husbands, wives out there that have to deal with people smelling like an ashtray.
Exactly.
Dang, I will say this ring light sure makes this snake look good.
Yeah.
I should have got one of these a long time ago.
He's looking fire.
Yeah, he's sure holding on tight. He's going to make sure that he doesn't go nowhere.
Which boa is that, Chad?
This is Rune, my Suriname boa.
And how old is that one?
He is 3.
3.
Yeah. One of the 2 snakes that I got from Gary a while back. He's super cool. I mean, I like red tail boas. It wasn't like one of those things in my head where I just had to get one. But the way that it worked out, like, he just has such a cool demeanor, he's like one of those snakes that you could use in an educational program or whatever. The only part I could see as maybe being a potential downside is just that, like, the red tail boas hold on pretty tight.
Yeah.
So I could see how, if a kid was holding it or somebody who's not used to snakes and this, it doesn't hurt. He's not holding on so tight that it hurts, but it could be like off-putting, I guess. So.
No, yeah, it's definitely a different feeling. Like, it's a good hug.
Yeah. The boas are great huggers.
Yeah.
So.
It's like, so he's my first boa, and I didn't realize, like, how well they do hold on. You know what I mean?
What all do you have? So you have a boa, you have the white tree frogs. What other animals do you have?
So I have the super dwarf. I have the ball python, the boa, the white tree frog. So I had a tegu. And I ended up rehoming him. He was not like your typical, like what everybody thinks of when they think of a tegu, like puppy dog, tame, tegu. He hated everything and everybody.
Oh, okay.
How old was he?
He was 3.
So he was past the puberty phase.
He was, yeah.
He was past that puberty phase and still angry. Because I get it, man. I've been dealing with puberty now for a year, and he's a firecracker for sure.
I love that you call it gooberty.
It is, yeah, it's gooberty. But so like he bit my husband one day, and my husband thought he was going to lose his finger. I mean, it was bad, and to be quite honest, like, he could tell that I was not comfortable around him anymore, which made it worse.
Sure.
Yeah, but it sucked. But his quality of life, like, I found somebody that had experience with tegus that took him, and so I it sucked, but it was the best thing I think for him as an individual.
Yeah, I think
it's never easy, but sometimes.
I mean, I've rehomed a couple things, and it's always to like good friends of mine. It's never like I'm trying to get rid of something and I'm just gonna sell it. I've rehomed a couple geckos, and it was to 2 close friends of mine. And then Russ has my hog nose, and Russ is my best friend. So it's kind of it's a situation where I know that the people that the animal's going to, that they're gonna get like the best life, you know, like what I would try and give them. And I think I can understand there's a few reasons to do it, you know, and definitely like being uncomfortable with an animal, it's good to know that you are and to not feel like you have to force yourself to deal with that. Because it's not going to be enjoyable long term for you or for the animal, you know.
No.
And you know, sometimes like I've kind of changed direction. You know, I got into keeping reptiles again because I love the animals, and then over time I kind of started seeing friends of mine and people that I knew, people that I followed, and I see this number of animals they have, and I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And it's easy to get in over your head as far as like expanding too quickly or feeling like you need, you know, 20 snakes or 50 snakes or whatever. And then I kind of got caught up in the thing where it's like, well, so many of my friends are breeding. Maybe I should get into breeding. And I've kind of took a step back and realized that's not really my avenue. Like, that's not why got into this. It's not. So, you know, I've rehomed a few things. I'm going to rehome a couple more. And it's, again, just to good friends. Sometimes you got to check yourself, you know, you got to like really like be real with yourself. And, you know, is this really how I want to go about it? Is this best for me, the animal? It's not easy, but you know, I think it's a good thing to think about, to consider.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you should like exhaust all your options. So like I did choice-based handling. I did the like overstimulating like approach. I did all the different approaches, and then when I realized nothing was working, that's when I was like, okay. And the only way I was going to get rid of him, like you said, is if it was someone that was responsible.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Am I breaking up? Because you guys are kind of like breaking up on my end.
Every once in a while it'll get a little choppy. I'm not sure.
Does he sound choppy to you, Russ?
Yeah, and there's cracking in the background. I don't know who that's coming from.
Yeah, I don't know either. I can hear it. Where are you going?
I'm more concerned about all the bikes outside my window right now. But
anyone that's watching, can you comment on like the audio? Is there? Because I can hear the little crackling occasionally, and it'll break up occasionally. But I mean, it sounds mostly fine. Whatever mostly fine is.
Mute yourself quick. And just like that, it's gone.
You think it's a mic?
Yeah, I think it's your mic, buddy.
I could still hear it a little bit, even when I was muted.
Oh.
Tim said she's a little quiet and there's background noise like the mic is in a dog bowl while he's eating. I'm just scared to like disconnect my earbuds and reconnect them because I'm not sure what it'll do. Like if it'll let me reconnect and you'll actually hear me or not. I'm not sure.
So Jessica, what got you into reptiles?
That's a good question. I don't really know. Like, I was scared of snakes. And I literally just went to the pet store one day, and I've always been like, I say weird. Like, I was gothic growing up, you know, so I've always liked strange things. And I was like, I have to have that snake. I was the perfect example of like what you don't do. So I had done no research. You know, I was taking home an animal that I was like honestly scared of, and it was crazy. But the more I interacted with that snake, the more like I just became obsessed with that. But yeah, I mean, I say this a lot to a lot of people. So like being gothic growing up, like really misunderstood, and I think that snakes in general are very misunderstood, and so like I feel like I can relate to them, you know. So now it's almost become like my mission to help other people realize how amazing they are, you know, because they are. Like,
It's a good thing.
Yeah. What got you
Can you
into
hear me
them,
now?
Russ?
All right.
What got you into snakes? Or have you always been reptiles?
I've always been into reptiles. I took a break for a while, but like I know my earliest memories, I was with my mom at the Reptile at different Herp Society meetings and going out. Like,
So your mom is a herp person?
Well, yeah, she used to be, and she used to own exotic pet shops. She used to set them up for people. So, I mean, I've had everything and anything, from inverts to exotic mammals to kinkajous, coatimundis, puma kittens. We've had a lot over the years. I had a squirrel for a year and a half. I've kept everything.
That's awesome.
But yeah, 4 years ago, I got back out on my own, and I didn't want to get a dog, but I wanted a pet. So I bought a beardy, and then from there I got into the YouTube end of it, and started joining people's Patreons, and just kind of stuck with it.
Yeah.
Now I'm up to 8 snakes, 2 lizards, and a tortoise.
You have what?
I have 8 snakes, 2 lizards, and a tortoise. Landon has a tortoise.
Oh, damn.
Got a redfoot. But yeah,
That's awesome.
We have a nice little collection.
Yeah, so that's one of the things, like, I'm trying so hard to not get a collection going, if that makes sense. But it's so hard, because it's like every time I see something, like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, man. I was trying to mess with stuff. I don't know what I'm doing.
You're back now.
I can still hear that, like, noise, though. I don't know what it's coming from.
Well, when I mute myself, I can only hear it if Russ talks. But when I'm not muted, I hear it, like, most of the time.
Huh.
So, I don't know. I guess this is, again, just like a casualty of trying to run stuff with a cell phone and earbuds as opposed to a computer. So, it's unfortunate, but...
Just technology.
Yeah, so what were we talking about? Because I couldn't hear. I couldn't hear anything.
Nice, Tim.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. I was fangirling over all of Tim's pictures because he was posting everything with Karma, and I know they had a great time.
I've held a 14-foot anaconda and a 16-foot retic, and when I see something that really is 20 foot, like not like how somebody says I have a 20-foot snake and it's like 16 foot, like an actual like 20-foot snake, I just can't even imagine, dude. That's so incredibly massive that like that's got to be just an experience. That's an experience you'll never forget. And it also seems like Karma is extremely sweet, which is a plus. Yeah, I would have loved to see that. I was seeing the pictures up in the rafters and stuff. Very cool.
Yes, so that's what's really funny. Like, I have these bigger, I guess, snakes, but I've never, like, honest to God, I've never seen a retic, like a grown retic in person.
Yeah, I went to a friend's house who's local to me, and he has a couple large retics. I mean, not huge, but I would say from 12 to 16 foot, and the size difference between a snake that's 12 foot to 13 or 13 to 14, it's not really that big of a thing. Like holding a 13-foot retic and then holding a 16-foot retic, it doesn't seem that dramatic. But everyone that I've talked to who either has or has worked with really large retics, it's like once you hit like 17 foot, every foot after that is just a massive difference in size and girth and weight and stuff. So like holding a 16-foot retic, they hold on to you. It's not that, or well, I mean, I'm 6'4", so it just wraps around my leg, around my waist, sits on my shoulders, and it's really kind of not that hard to hold. But I mean, when you watch the video with 3 grown adult men carrying Karma out of a cage, it's like, dang.
That's a big girl. Yeah.
That's a big girl.
Yeah, I think like when you raise them when you raise them from a baby, like you get used to them. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
you don't even realize how big they've gotten.
Yeah.
Until they get to a point where it's like easy, obviously.
Yeah, I had my mainland out. He's only like 8.5 or 9 foot. That's what I say. I don't know. I've never measured him, but just that's my guess. Like he's in an 8-foot enclosure, and I would guess that he's like a little longer, maybe than his enclosure if he's fully stretched out. But he's just a big baby. He's still, you know, I got him when he was little. He's always been super, you know, had a really nice demeanor, and even though he's bigger, he's still just a big baby to me, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said about getting an animal as a baby and raising them, and they know how they get used to like your way of interacting with them, and you get used to them and stuff, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll say though, like when I got my boa, I thought he would be a lot bigger at what 3? He's 3 years old. I mean, my ball python is bigger in girth than my boa is at 3 years old.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I have a 2-year-old boa, my Peruvian longicauda, and he's tiny. He's my smallest snake. He's super small. He just doesn't grow. Some of them just grow slow, and I mean, I don't feed very heavy with any of my animals. I feed like smaller prey items. I've always done that. They for sure could eat bigger food, but what's the point? I'm in no rush to grow them, and I don't want fat snakes. So
yeah.
But he's tiny. It trips me out that he's 2, and most of my snakes are around the same age because I got the majority of them around the same time. And he's like so dramatically smaller than the rest of them. Sorry about the audio. I'm not sure.
Yes.
What did Tim say?
Oh, Jason said 3 grown men were carrying Karma or 1 waddling Tim. So Tim was calling it the retic duck walk.
Yeah, that's definitely a big girl.
Oh, now I hear the bikes. Okay. Yeah, I agree with Jenny. And I mean, that really goes for most snakes. Like, retics grow fairly fast. Kind of regardless how you feed them, they're going to grow. But if you're not trying to breed an animal at whatever that age is that people say is it's cool, it's safe to breed them here, so get them to size by this age. Like, if that's not what you're going for, they can be small, you know.
Yeah.
And they look better that way. You know, they look a lot healthier when they're not chunky, and you can see all the muscle tone and definition. And especially with boas, it's really easy to tell if a boa's fat because they have like a different body shape. They're not round. They're like boxy and kind of square. So if a boa's fat, it's round and it looks weird. You know, doesn't look like what you're used to seeing boas.
Right. You want them to have that bread loaf shape.
Yeah, like this dude is super solid, but I mean, let me see. I'm so bad with the camera. You can see like the line in his back where the muscles are like split, you know, like there's no reason to, and especially I mean, I would say that all 3 of us probably aren't planning to breed or aren't in a rush to breed. So what's the point of feeding big meals, you know?
Yeah, I agree with Tim. I don't want my livelihood to depend on finding responsible keepers. You know? And I mean, I think especially like the industry is going, like with bigger enclosures and better care, people are going to be downsizing from what they were doing in the past.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I'm seeing I've been seeing people who have been around for quite a while downsizing and spending a good deal of money on larger enclosures. And there's a few people who I follow who I, respect a good deal that are spending a lot of money, like refitting and remodeling parts of their house just so they can have more space for huge enclosures. And it's cool to see because I can do whatever I want and I have a very small following compared to, like, my name doesn't hold the same weight as these guys who have been around for a long time. So even if I keep like just better than everybody, who all's going to see it? My network and my following is much smaller. So when you see these guys who have been in this for a long time, who are like breeders, who have like well respected names, and they're going like above and beyond what they, what a lot of people would do. I think other people are going to see that, and it's going to sort of. I'm hoping, and this is what I think, is that it's going to kind of change you know, the mindset from like, how many snakes can I have in my room? How many can I keep in the space that I have? To like, how much can I give them? Like, what's this big? Like, how big of enclosures can I give them? And I think that's. I always joke that like, look at all the morphs that we have in ball pythons and boas, and look at how many morphs have came out over the last 20 years or so. And it's like husbandry is just now starting to like really go up. We're worried about making like prettier snakes, but it seems like now the focus is more to like, okay, how can we keep better? How can we keep them? How can we do better for the animals instead of just making pretty stuff? And I like that. I don't want to sound like I'm trying to shit talk breeders or anything, because I'm not. Obviously, we have to get our animals from somewhere. But it's nice to see the focus shift away a little to where it is now.
Yeah, no.
I wish I could pick up this guy's face. I also wish I could figure out the backwards camera thing. He's got so much pink on his face. It's like, and of course he doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. No, he's not going to sit still, probably. He also has a mustache. I love his little mustache.
I love his mustache.
Well, you can't see him, but that's how he is. He's got a little mustache on him.
It's so cool. Yeah. It looks distinguished. I feel like he needs like a distinguished name, like Jasper Abernathy or something. Like he's
got to get him a little monocle.
Yeah, little top hat. So I know that we've only kind of been talking for what doesn't seem like a super long time, but you seem to be really interested in like the education side of all of this and in the husbandry side of it. So I'm just kind of curious, like how long have you been keeping reptiles, or were you out of it for a while and came back, or?
Hold on, Chad, I can't hear you. I think it might be my internet.
I hope it's not mine.
I think it's mine.
Sure.
Hold on. That's why I keep moving this camera, because I'm wondering if it's where it's sitting in this room.
Oh, okay. I was just saying that you seem like you're very interested in the education and the husbandry side of all of this. And I'm just curious, like, how long have you been keeping reptiles, or did you before and you kind of got back into it, or?
Yeah, so my first reptile was a bearded dragon when I was in elementary school. My dad was like, I found this really cool animal I think you'll like, and it has the word dragon in it. So, of course, like, I was into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that was back when heat rocks were a thing. And that bearded dragon did not live very long. And it was not the heat rock. I don't know what it was. Like I said, I was younger. But after that was really, really hard on me when that bearded dragon died and I was little. I did not keep reptiles anymore. And then when I did go back to reptiles, it was the snakes, like I said, which was weird because I was scared of snakes. But here, let's see, I've probably had them for the last 6 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 6 years.
A lot longer than me.
Say it one more time, Chad.
Oh, that's just a lot longer than me.
Yeah, so like for me, I'm really big on husbandry because when I got my first ball python, like I said, I knew nothing about him. They sent me home with no hide, which is not their job, right? It's my job to do my research. But they sent me home with no hide, a red light, because red lights were a thing back then. And I just feel like if I was to be put in a box, because essentially that's what it is, you're putting an animal in a box. I owe it to that animal to give them my best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and so.
I lost my snake.
Sorry.
Oh, I lost my snake. He's wrapped around the chair now. He's
going.
It's all over. I'm not going to be able to get him off.
That's what I love about these shelves. So, like, I'll let him out, and they'll just cruise around, and I don't even have to worry about him. And I know they can't get to the ground unless they fall. But yeah, but so husbandry, like I said, it's become a big thing to me because I just think we owe it to these animals. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's no reason to really do something if you're not going to really put the effort in, especially with something that's alive. You know, like, why have a dog if you're just going to keep it in a crate all the time?
Right.
And why have a snake if you're going to keep it in a little tiny box with no hide and a tiny water and never take it out? We definitely do owe it to them, and they're living creatures. Like, I would feel real bad if I didn't take care of animals, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it comes down to, like, if you look at the 5 freedoms of animal welfare, you know, there's so much stuff that we could be doing to better our care. Like for example, on some of these shelves, I've got them around the room, I have snake sheds for the different snakes to, like, have a sensory need met where they can actually smell it and they can smell a different snake. You know what I mean? Like, because they're not cohab. But
Right.
I feel like that helps to stimulate them mentally, you know, and their sensory needs. So versus just keeping them in an enclosure where there's really nothing novel, there's nothing new for them to experience. You know?
You know what I'll do like periodically when I go to clean the enclosure, I'll set it up different on the inside. I'll move hides to a different spot. I'll move water to a different spot. If there's pieces of wood or perches, I kind of move stuff around. And it seems like when you put them back in there, they spend like a good half an hour or whatever to, like, they just cruising, checking everything out like it's a whole new environment. And it took me like 30 seconds to put it back there, you
know? Yeah. Yeah, I'm always trying to find different things that, like, I can put in the room to where they can explore. You know, so they have these chinchilla tubes they sell at the pet store, and they're literally just a big almost like a big cardboard toilet paper roll, essentially. But they're big enough to where, like, a big boa could get through it and not get stuck. And I put one of those in my boa's enclosure, and he went nuts. Like you said, he spent 30 minutes smelling that thing. You know, so just giving them other opportunities other than their normal, typical, everyday experience.
Looks like Jay wants to put you to the test here. He wants to know if you
I honestly don't.
5 freedoms of animal care.
I honestly don't know what that is, so maybe I'm like,
Oi, Chad.
Yeah, I actually don't know what that is, so I would like to hear about it also.
The 5 freedoms of animal welfare?
Yeah.
So, well, the first one is every animal should have access to, obviously, clean water and food, right? So that's one of the ones. They should have, I don't know them in order, but they should have access to exhibit natural behaviors, right? So, like, if you have a burrowing species, they should be able to burrow. You should provide them that opportunity. One of the freedoms is freedom from sickness and disease, which means that, you know, like, obviously you're taking care of your animals. And then if you notice something like they have an RI or something, you're fixing your husbandry. You're doing what you need to do to make sure they're not suffering. Then there is some, like I said, sensory needs. So making sure that they're able to, they have amazing smell. They're able to smell very strongly, right? So you want to give them things that are able to utilize that because they have it for a reason. So like I said, like if you give them a different snake shed or you take an item, I know this sounds crazy, but like maybe you have an item that smells like your dog. It's just a different smell for them to explore and stimulate them mentally.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
I know. I know it kind of goes like. There's two sides of this, but I've heard of some people taking something from one animal's enclosure and putting it in another animal's enclosure, like a piece of wood or a hide or a thing they climb on or whatever. And I know some people hate that because they say, "Oh, cross contamination," but I feel like if you're at least confident that your animals don't have any kind of like viral issue, like I test my snakes, and I know that's not like 100% foolproof, but I would probably be comfortable with that, because I've tested them and they, from my understanding, don't have anything wrong with them. So
yeah, and anything that's viral, if it's in your reptile room, it's viral. Like any of your animals could get it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I mean, if it's an external parasite, so like if it's snake mites or something, like you should know if your animal has mites, right? But like, I don't really worry about stuff like that because I know all my animals are in the same room. You know what I mean? I mean, they're exploring the same shelves, different things, and as long as they're healthy, I don't worry about that. Now, if one of my animals had like a respiratory infection, then I would take it out of my reptile room and put it in a quarantine area, and then obviously, would not be sharing anything.
sure. Hey, I'm gonna mute myself and turn off my camera because I got to get this snake off this chair, and I don't want everyone to stare at my butt. So, take it over, Russ.
I kind of want to stare at your butt. So how long have you had your boa?
He's just chilling up there. He has not even moved.
Well, how long have you had him? Is he a new snake for you?
Yeah, he's a new one. So I recently got him, maybe 2 weeks ago, from Adam at Mortal Coil. So I watched Tim over at Intrepid Exotics. I was watching his videos on boas, and I had seen a comment where he recommended Adam. And I had the most amazing experience with them. Like, I've never had a breeder make me sign an agreement saying, you need to know your laws, you need to know this, you need to know that. And you could tell he really cared about his animals. This guy was actually a holdback male, but he went a different direction, so.
Okay. So I know a lot of boa people do kind of like a dry season and a wet season. And then during the dry season, the boas don't really eat much. Do you intend on doing that?
I don't know. So when it comes to feeding, I usually go off of my animals' behaviors. You know what I mean? So like, I don't have a set schedule. I feed them when they look hungry, when they start showing me that they're hungry. Some people feed, depending on the age of the animal, every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever the case may be. But I just wait for them to start like actively showing me, they're searching for food. I will say with the boa though, I've noticed that whenever I open up the door to his enclosure, he immediately gets in that position to where he thinks, I'm going to eat. So I've been doing hook training with him, and different things like that. I take him out, like when that door opens, I'm taking him out more than the door opens to feed him, if that makes sense. So hopefully he'll learn like between the tap training, and then I am going to try to do target training with him. but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Because I really do. I like Lori's like approach of like choice-based handling, giving them a choice over, you know, everything. And then I also like the target training because from what I've seen of it, from what I've done with it, it does work.
Oh yeah, my Tegu and my retics are all target trained.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
my super dwarf is. I mean, he's awesome. He's never ever given me a food response until he sees that target, and then it's on.
Yeah, see, I still tap my retics too, just before I stick my hand in there. They're pretty good about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I haven't really tap trained. Well, mine's not even a year old yet, so let me put that out there. But usually what I do is I open the door and I make sure he's not in that, like, you know, food mode position, and I let him come out. And then as soon as he's interacting with me, then I'll interact with him. But I try my best, like, and not all the time, but I try my best not to go in there and just grab them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I try to give them more choice in the interaction. But, I mean, sometimes I have to, or I want to, and I go in and I grab them. But for the most part, I let them choose to come out.
What kind of retic is it that you have?
So he is a 65% super dwarf. He's a purple albino. But he's a mix of a bunch of different localities.
Okay.
Yeah, he's really chill. Like, that's why I'm interested to see when he gets bigger if his personality is going to change.
Sure.
Because he's not, I mean, he's not one of those retics yet to where, like, when I open the enclosure, like I said, he's going to strike or acting crazy. He's super chill.
Yeah.
You look like Moses over there, Chad, with the snake on the staff.
Well, I got the boa off the chair, and then I was like, okay, I'll take this guy out. But, you know, I reached in, touched his side real quick, and started to pull him out, and he wrapped around the perch. He wrapped his tail around it, so I was like, all right, I'll just take the whole perch out. And now he's doing this.
I love how retics climb. Like, that's something I think unique to retics, like how they climb straight up like that.
I've seen green street pythons do it, but the way retics do it is just so cool to watch. You know, they're longer snakes. I love doing it.
Do any other large snakes do that? I don't know of any that do.
Maybe a scrub python. I mean, I know scrubs climb a lot. I've never seen one do it, but I would think maybe a scrub python might.
Yeah.
But the retics, I love doing it. I'll just grab any random object that's like tall and set the snake at the bottom of it and just watch them like wrap around, come up, wrap around. Let me see if I can get him to go back the other way.
What about some of the large colubrids?
I don't know.
Like the Tyots and stuff. Are they climbers?
I'm not sure. I know the Vietnamese blue beauties. Like, I like them a lot. They climb, it seems like.
Yeah.
Boiga, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever seen a Vietnamese, is it the blue beauties? I don't think I've ever seen them climb like that either.
I've seen them climb in branches and stuff, but never like this.
Yeah, but not like that.
So
that round movement where they're pulling up. I've only seen retics do that.
Yeah. I just love it. I mean, they're so strong. You know, they really are. And I think it's important that they're able to use their muscles to do things like that, you know, and we all keep our own ways, but like my mainland's enclosure is 8x3x3, and he's like, I would guess around 8.5 foot. After I got that, I want to have all of my retics have at least 3 feet of height, just because. And my mainland's enclosure is not set up how I want, but at least it's a big cage. But I think it'd be cool to give them all that height because they'll use it. He uses every inch of that cage, like every day. And you could even like this guy has 2 of these perches that go like horizontal, in his cage, but you could even put one like this, like up and down in the cage, and just fix it that way somehow, and just watch him use that to climb. I'm sure they would, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's one
And
of the things I'm working on this year is updating all my enclosures. I want to get the Toad Ranch enclosures and get bigger enclosures, obviously, and then more activities because, like I said, like I let them kind of have free roam of the room, but I want to find more activities for them to be able to climb on stuff.
yeah, there's a couple people who have made like large like structures that they have outside. Like I see Eric Lee has that like big jungle gym outside, and
Yeah.
like things like that are a really awesome idea. I've been thinking about getting like a big kiddie pool since it's, you know, sort of warm for us, and just let them swim around for a while, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day when I was at the dollar store. I was like, we should get a kiddie pool and just let them, you know,
None of my
around it.
none of my boas particularly seem to care much about swimming. But every retic I have will get in. You know, I give them big enough waters where they can get in it and actually move around in it, and they all swim. So
yeah, my retic he'll swim, but I have to put something in there. Like he can't just be like I couldn't just put him in a kiddie pool. Like I'd have to put something in there because he's still so small. You know, like I'd have to have a rock or something for him to be able to anchor onto.
sure.
What do you have there, Russ?
This is
The Motley Girl.
my Motley Girl. Yeah. I believe her name is Ellen Tari. I have to double check though. I always forget. I just named her. I've had her for months, but I just named her.
So that's what I still need to do. I still need to name the boa. I suck at names.
Well, I kind of made it hard for myself because I was like, oh, all my retics are going to be in Kenya, which is Tolkien's High Elvish language. Yeah, so it's not quite as simple as it could.
Man's over here writing a research paper on names for snakes.
All right.
Yeah, all of mine are named after like video games, movies, whatever, anime.
Each has its own theme.
Well, that's what I wanted, like a theme, but like I like the Vikings, so Ivar is one of my snakes. But I want to use him in educational programs, so I don't know that a Viking name would be great for like. I feel like for kids, you need like a name like Doug or Timmy or something kid friendly.
Yeah, something kid friendly, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like Ivar, like this is Ivar the Boneless. They're not so kid friendly.
Yeah, great books and show.
But,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I named my first snake after a world in a video game, and then they all have like nerdy names, which makes sense because I've always been into video games and I've watched a good amount of movies and shows and things. And, like I don't usually try and name a snake. I just sit around and wait for the name to like kind of come to me.
Come to you.
Just works better.
Yeah, that's what I'll probably end up doing with him. Going up there. He's not even moved.
I know. I want to do something like that in my room. Put some like shelves kind of up high, just around like half of the room, and I can just like when I'm cleaning, maybe just set them up there. I could do it with the boas. The retics, they'd get into something, I'm sure.
Oh well, I mean, I don't know. My retic loves it because, like I said, I have like multiple shelves on the wall over there, and he just cruises. He's just constantly going. And like you said, I think it's great for like building that muscle quality. You know what I mean? So he loves it. The bad thing is trying to get him off of it. because then he throws
Yeah.
a temper tantrum and he's like, I don't want to go back in my enclosure. You know, I'm up in the trees. So
I have a boa that hates going back in his enclosure, and he's only like, I don't know how big, I don't know how long he is, like 3 foot maybe. He hates going in his enclosure. I have to like get him to unwrap around me and then like try and set him down and close it real quick because he just. With mine though, I'm just worried about him, like, because they could get behind the stack of enclosures, and then I would have to like pull that out. It's on a pallet with wheels. Like I put caster wheels on a pallet and stack them, but it'd be a pain in the ass to get a snake out of there. So
yeah,
My Motley girl got out on me one night.
Yeah, I don't have any enclosures under mine. So yeah, if you had an enclosure under your shelves, they'd probably get behind it.
I put my Motley girl away one night, and I thought she was in there. And in the middle of the night, I wake up to banging in Landon's room, and Landon wasn't even here. And she snuck out while I was putting the lid on, and was hanging out in my kid's room.
Oh, yeah,
I wasn't.
At least you found her easy.
Retics are escape artists.
Yeah, they're a little sneaky.
Yeah.
It's like when you're holding them and they're cruising around and they see that one thing that they really want, and no matter how hard you try to like pull them back or turn them the other way, they're always like going back that way to that thing. They're definitely like in an enclosure. If there's a way out, like they'll find it eventually.
Oh yeah.
So lock your cages if you have them. You know, I have locks on all of mine, and I don't deal with it with the tubs. Like the tubs I have, I don't think they can really push lids off. Well, I haven't yet, so I'm actually surprised that this guy's just chilling right now. He's always on the move, and he just decided he wants to chill. Oh, there he is. Now he's gonna start moving.
Yeah, he's sitting there like a bug, just chilling with you.
Yeah. So, you started a YouTube recently. What was like, and again, it's like the educational and husbandry side of things. So, like, what made you? I guess, like, what made you want to take the jump to doing that? Like, is it something that you want to do? That you want it to like grow into something bigger, or is it just something you enjoy doing in your free time?
So I don't have a lot of people in my personal life that like reptiles. So it kind of gives me an outlet to where I can talk about them because, like, I'm a nerd, you know, like a reptile nerd. Like I like knowing the whys. I like researching different things. I don't have any plans on, you know, being an influencer or anything like that. I don't think I have the personality for it. Like I said, I'm somewhat socially awkward. I just want to do it mainly for me, and then, you know, if it does eventually grow, I have a job that I love, you know, like I'm trying to make a job out of it, but I would like to take that money and either give it to Tim at Intrepid Exotics and help get some type of educational center in our area, because we have no reptile educational centers down here. So I would love to see something like that started. I know Tim is working on that, or even just being able to donate more to US Art, you know, because I have my membership, but there's so much more I would like to do financially for them. Because, you know, I can't imagine like that crap that went down in Florida. I can't imagine someone coming in here and putting an gun through one of my animals' heads. Like, I would lose my crap. You know what I mean? So I'm so thankful for them, because I feel like we kind of take it for granted how lucky we are, you know, and this hobby could be gone any day if it's not, you know, for people fighting for us.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I found out about US Art not very long after I got my first snake. When I was getting back into reptiles, my first snake was a retic. As soon as I found out about US Art, I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm definitely getting behind it. And then obviously over time, when I see some of the good, some of the bad that's gone on with the community or outside things that affect the community, and like talking to people, like talking to Phil and talking to Vanessa, and like it just makes me more passionate about it. It's definitely something that, and like the same for Russ. I mean, we talk about this stuff a lot privately. We've talked about it on when we were doing the Instagram lives. Like, I think that if you own a reptile or like anything that's not a dog or a cat, it's worth looking into, man, because who else is doing it? And I you know, I don't want to be like the argumentative type, but if you don't believe in it and you think what they're doing isn't good enough, take your money and go do something. Like, go start your own group, go start your own foundation or your own nonprofit and start fighting the same stuff they are if you really are that against it, you know?
Yeah. And I think it's not just like, it's not just getting a membership and, okay, I'm a USARC member. Sorry, my dog's barking like crazy. Hush! It's not just like getting a membership and then, okay, I'm a USARC member, right? It's actually sending those emails, and it makes it so, easy. Copy paste. You know, put your own flair to it or whatever. But like the fact that you have more people sending emails, you know what I mean? And I think it's because people don't think it's a threat to them. They're like, oh, that's just Florida. Okay,
Right.
well, what happens when, like my county, there's a law right now, and when I asked them why that law is in place, they said because it's working in other areas, so we just adopted it. Okay, well, we're in North Carolina. These people are in a completely different state, you know, so we need to be, I feel like we as a community need to be more like vocal and involved in what's going on.
Sure. And a lot of the stuff you can do for free is actually some of the more important stuff. Like, you can, if you're on social media, you can share USARC alerts for free. It's not going to cost you anything. I screenshot it and just post it. Or you can subscribe to the newsletter for free. USARC and USARC Florida both have YouTubes. It's also free. You can share all of this stuff. You can, and just the numbers itself helps, you know. And if you're, I mean, I'd almost think that if you were going to be like a silver member, instead of being a USARC silver member, just be a bronze member and give out a couple bronze memberships that equals that amount or whatever, because the numbers are there, you know?
Yeah. I think we could definitely, as a whole, I think we could do more. I know I feel like I could do more, you know what I mean? So like, I would like to. I'm doing some different cross stitches that are like snake cross stitches that I was planning on selling, and then like literally all the proceeds going to USARC for people who like handicrafts or whatever. But like, you know, just
I mean, I just volunteered to help out at the booth at the last show, at the Anaheim Super Show, and it was awesome. Like, I loved hanging out with the people and just getting to know a little bit more about how hard they really work that you might not see if you're kind of just seeing newsletters and alerts and stuff. You don't really see all of the behind the scenes stuff, and like, they don't stop moving. Like, they're walking and they're talking and they're, you know, there's it's crazy how much really goes on behind the scenes. And like, after doing that, I was like, oh, I'll do it every show then, you know. Like, I've never been to out of state shows, but any of the California shows that I am able to get to, I'll volunteer, you know. And why not? It's not hurting me at all. It's not costing me anything extra, you know. It's
exactly.
And it's beneficial, and it's just cool to be part of, like, I mean, you're like, to try and give back to the community you're part of.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and so like, and then going back to like the YouTube thing. So I want to make, like, with my videos, I want to make videos that are like short, sweet, and to the point. You know what I mean? So like, when I'm looking up how to do something, I want it short, sweet, and to the point. So I can like, let me watch it, figure out how to do it, so that I can go and do that thing, right? When I want to watch a podcast and I want to listen to people talk, like, I look for my podcast. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's different times for different things. But a lot of the videos that I've seen, like how-to videos, they're like 20 minutes long. And I'm like, I don't want to listen to you talk for 20 minutes to tell me how to do, like, just give it to me straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's the easiest to absorb content, or however you want to say that. And it's also like, that's the same way I am, right? I love listening to podcasts. If I'm like cleaning enclosures, or it's in the morning and I'm drinking my coffee and I'm getting ready for work, I love listening to podcasts, and I have a variety that I listen to on different things. And actually, I should say they're all reptile related, but a variety of different reptile related podcasts. But I don't want to do that when I want to figure out like how to properly set up an enclosure. If I was looking for that, I need something that's like 15 minutes tops, and they're just giving me all that. I don't want to sit there for 45 minutes and try and like skip a minute or two at a time and get to it. So I think people would appreciate that,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's fun too, like, because my kids are kind of getting involved in it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool to where, like, when I did the last video, the quarantine enclosure, my daughter, I was walking her through how to do it, so she's on camera doing it. But so she's learning, at the same time, which for me is cool as a parent. Because we talk about being responsible reptile keepers, but like, what are you doing to mold the next generation, especially if you're a parent or you have, kids in your lives? Like, what are you doing to make a difference, for them? So.
I think fostering the passion in like this next generation is the most, like, the coolest thing that any of us can do. That's why more recently, and I would say like the last few months, I've really been paying a lot more attention to the education side and realizing that like that's something I really want to get involved in. Because when I was a kid, there was a guy who came to our elementary school who had snakes, and he worked as a rattlesnake removal, like taking them from the neighborhoods up to the hills in our area. So he'd bring in like rattles from a rattlesnake, like that fell off or whatever, or he had like boas and ball pipe. And I remember seeing all that when I was a kid, and it was like the coolest thing, and then going to expos, like I have friends, obviously I'm not there selling anything because I don't have anything to sell. I just go to hang out with my friends and talk to everybody. And my friends who do Vin shows, who have, animals for sale or animals that they bring to show off at the show, they're friends. They let me hold snakes. So I'm holding large snakes. It brings in a crowd, and all the kids want to talk about what is this snake, and can we touch the snake and stuff. And it like gives me a chance to interact with kids and even adults who maybe thought they were scared of snakes, and then you talk to them for 15 minutes and they're like petting a big retail. It's really cool. Like,
yeah, no, and I think too, like outside of the educational like aspect of it, the community. So like the reptile community is just so, like, I don't normally like people. Like, I'm not a people person. I'm very introverted. But there's something about this community. Like, everyone is so freaking supportive. And, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I love the people. You know what I mean? Like, I've met so many good people. Brandon over at Cotafago. Exotics, you guys. I mean, Alex with Ravishing Reptiles. Like, just so many. Christina and her husband James. Like, so many amazing, supportive, like, people that I feel like you don't run into. Like, there's something special about our community, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I've never been like a big social person. I'm like, I get like anxiety if I go, I'm definitely not the type to go to like a populated public place by myself to hang out. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I used to think that I just didn't like people, and then I started to realize that I just don't understand a lot of people, So like this has given me like a common ground where we share an interest. We all love animals, a lot of us are different. Like, I mean, I have tattoos. A lot of people have tattoos, piercings. They dress different. There's like every different sort of type of person you can imagine is in the reptile community, and they're all welcome. They're all treated the same, and it makes it feel like like a big family. So,
Yeah.
like, I never would have thought in a million years that I would turn a camera on and sit in front of it like this and talk, because that's just so far from, like, I was the kid growing up in school where if it was like, oh, you got to come stand in front of the class and give a report, I was like, I'll take an F. Give me an F. It's fine, bro. I'll make it up on other stuff. And
yeah,
it's just cool because you feel like you can be who you are and enjoy the same things as another group of people, and you're not like judged because you're the weirdo that likes snakes or whatever. We're all weird. And we all like snakes, so.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, that was the thing, like with YouTube, like why I didn't want to do it, because I don't like being on camera. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like being the center of attention. That's just not my thing. You know,
Sure.
but it's like, but I think that, if it's something you're passionate about and you care about, you need to push past your comfort zone, like whatever you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like rewarding, I think my favorite part of all of this, like getting on Instagram and doing this, is like I meet so many people from all over the world, and we just talk about animals, asking questions, sending each other photos, like, and I wouldn't meet those people otherwise. I'm in California, where like Russ is my best friend. He's in Pennsylvania. How are we going to bump into each other randomly? So it's just really cool that through this hobby you get to meet people that you otherwise wouldn't sort of bump into casually. Like the people who I am the closest with, the people who I like, most of the people who I have like the most love and respect for in the community, I've never even met them. They all live in other states.
Yeah.
Not yet. We gotta
Not
make
yet.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, one of the people that I've kind of been in my thoughts lately is Brian Barczyk.
Okay. Yeah.
I like Brian Barczyk.
Yeah, me and Russ have talked a bit about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into the sensational stuff, but I know he's really, struggling right now. He's with his cancer, and so yeah, I don't know. I mean, like you were saying, people you've never met, but you share a similar hobby, similar passion, like you care about them. You know what I mean?
Sure. And you don't have to agree with everything that everybody does. Like I have good friends who I don't just agree with everything that they do, but it doesn't mean that we have to it doesn't have to be an issue. And,
right.
Brian's been around forever, and I think he's done a lot. And it's a bummer for anybody to have to deal with illnesses and, health issues and things. And, what I do like is the amount of support from the community for not only Brian, but other people who have also dealt with health issues and medical issues and stuff. It seems like, I don't know these people personally, but there's been numerous people who have dealt with a lot of stuff, and the community really seems to do a good job of getting together and trying to help that person or the families or whatever, which is really awesome to see, because we kind of live in a society where a lot of people wouldn't lift a finger to help you, but that goes into this community being very welcoming. And
yeah, and you have people from so many different backgrounds too. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody's.
Can't turn it around.
Is that Yoda?
Yoda with a snake hat?
With a snake hat. Look, Chad said to bring.
Oh yeah. There it is. I said bring your own snake hats. Apparently Yoda brought his.
Yeah.
I will have you know that this is the way.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. See, I can't wait till my retic gets that size.
Yeah,
she's tiny, man.
I think it gets a little harder. Like, you know, my biggest snake's like, I don't know, 8.5, 9 foot. Sometimes it's a little harder to like handle them. It's not. I guess, you know, when you get to that like a 6 foot snake. I mean, I guess anything under 10 foot is not too bad, but like they get to that like 5, 6 foot range. It's so easy to like interact with them. You can move them around much easier. Which again is like, you know, I love retics. But that's why it's so cool that you could, you know, if you want a 16, 17, 18 foot snake, you can get that. If you want one that's, you know, 10 foot or less, they are in that range. So it's kind of cool that there's a little something out there for everyone.
So I have a friend that recently got some night snakes.
Oh, cool.
Tiny, man.
Yeah.
They make hognose look big.
Say it one more time, Russ. I turned the camera off because, like I said, I think my internet connection is just sucky tonight.
Did you hear what she said, Russ?
No.
Oh, try again?
I said I think my internet's sucky tonight for some reason. That's why I turned the camera off. I was trying to like get it to cooperate.
Yeah. No, it's funny because like the thought process behind switching from Instagram to YouTube was like Instagram sometimes has audio issues, or sometimes people have a hard time joining, and then you move over to YouTube and it's like, oh, audio issues.
Yeah.
It hasn't kicked anybody yet, so I mean, I guess we got that going for us. But
so, Jessica, are you part of that awesome North Carolina Herp Society?
The Herp Society?
Yeah.
What about it? Sorry, I couldn't hear you, Russ.
Are you a member?
Am I in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you a member?
So, I've not been to a meeting. They haven't really had a lot of meetings here recently, but I am planning on going to the next one that they have. I am part of the, so I live near Lake Norman, if anybody's familiar with that area, but I'm part of the Lake Norman Herpetological Society, which is a bunch of, they're more like an older crowd, but they have so much knowledge, and they're constantly going down to Florida and doing so many amazing things, and they are really, really consistent with meetings. Like, we meet up and we go and eat pizza or go to somebody's house, bring our animal. So yeah, and that's another reason why like education has become a big thing to me, because I feel like the Herp societies, like, you have so many opportunities to get out there and like educate the public and erase some of those fears. You know, like whether it's like going and talking to the Boy Scouts and bringing some of your native species and letting them see those species up close, or even like religious, you know, like taking that idea that the snake is this evil devil, you know what I mean? And like really explaining to them that this is a living being. You know what I mean? Like, and I think like, I hate to talk about religion, but I really do feel like so many Christians in particular, like, they really don't understand what they believe. You know what I mean? Like, if you believe in that, if that's your worldview, like, then you believe that there's a higher power that created these things. You know what I mean? So they have nothing to do with the devil or evil. And it drives me nuts because that's what everybody.
I think that like between like the religious belief side of it, and then like just cultural stuff too, because there's different cultures that either are like scared of snakes and that's just been a thing for like however long, or they think or they hate them and they want to kill them or whatever. And it's unfortunate that that's almost become like it's branched out of those groups into other people, right? Like I can understand if you live somewhere where there's like a lot of venomous snakes and people get bit and things happen, that maybe the culture is scared of snakes, but it's like moved over into like everywhere in the world, this mindset. It's nice to see it change because again, like you might have somebody who's like scared or uneasy or uncomfortable around a snake, and they're around like some sort of educational thing, and by the end of that they're holding it or they want to come up and touch the snake. And it's really cool to see that like shift, because like kids are generally fearless. Like most kids that I've seen, when if I'm holding a snake anywhere and there's kids, they all want to come up. They're like fearless. Their parents are usually the ones who are scared, you know. So seeing that sort of shift is really cool, and I think that religion plays a part in it, and culture plays a part in it. I don't know. I mean, I hate mosquitoes, but other than that, I think pretty much any animal is cool, and it probably serves some purpose. And you know, we shouldn't hate them. I don't know, but again, I mean, I'm the weird guy with a snake on his shoulders in front of a camera, so I would think that.
Yeah, and that's what I think makes the educational side of things cool, because you do get to see that shift, and especially with kids. Like to me, seeing the kids' eyes light up, you know, because you don't know, those are your future lawmakers, you know, so you're impacting them in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
You know, so I think education is, to me, is where it's at. Like I think we need more of that. You know, and more people too. Like don't think it's your way or the highway. You know, like some people are super against racks, and I think it just depends on the situation. You know what I mean? Like you can't just knock somebody for the way that they're doing something. You know,
sure.
We're all learning, we're all growing. We learn something new every day. So,
yeah, and these things, all these different, there's so many different ways to do things, and I would say majority of them have their purpose. They have a place, they have a purpose where that could be, you know, the right move or necessary move. Yeah, definitely there's plenty of people who are like stuck in their ways, but I have retics and boas, and I talk to a lot of people. Most of my friends probably have retics, but I'm not. When I talk to these people, I'm not like talking to people who have retics so I can learn more about retics. I feel like I learn more and I take in more from outside of what I keep. Like I'll watch podcasts or listen to podcasts about geckos and venomous, and I almost take a lot more from them, and like it opens my eyes and kind of changes my perspective on what's possible or what might work, and it makes me wonder, like, should I try that? Like, you can learn. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I keep retics. Let me just get my info from retic people. Like, and the same with thinking that you need your information to come from the people who have been around for a long time. Like, there's new people who are doing great things. People who haven't been around for 10, 15, 20 years that are really like, they're doing really awesome things. And,
yeah.
You don't have to be like the old head that.
I learned something from a venomous keeper, which I've never been bitten by any of my snakes. Like, I was going to put that out there. But one of the things they said is never take your eyes off of a venomous snake. So when I'm handling my animals, I know that sounds stupid, but I keep my eyes on them. Like, I'm reading their body language constantly to make sure they're not stressed or whatever. So, like you were saying, Chad, I think you can always learn something new from somebody. You know,
yeah.
Even if it's not the same species, like you can always learn something to help you be a better keeper.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, even other hobbies, like, I feel like are more advanced than we are, like the aquaculture community and stuff, like the fish keepers and stuff. Like, they do insane stuff. The way that they keep, like, So just paying attention to everything and just soak in all the information. But then again, I'm the kind of person who wants to learn. I want to know, like if there's something I can do better, I don't want someone to come and tell me that I'm doing it horrible and I'm a terrible person and I should do it their way. But that's why the conversations are so beneficial. Like people hit me up on the internet and we talk. I talk to people every day. Some of them are people that I've never talked to before, and it's really cool to get other perspectives.
Yeah,
we're never going to know it all. So we can always keep learning. We can always keep trying to grow and progress what we do. And like, even if you're happy with the way you're doing it, you might find something and be like, hey, let me just go ahead and try this. It might work better.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing about herpetoculture. Everybody you look at that's also sharing what they're doing, there's usually something you could pick up.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Change up your routine a little bit, and not only is it better for your animals, but it's better for the hobby overall. Right? Makes everybody a little more versatile and a little more in tune with the animals. And it's never a bad thing.
Yeah, my thing is,
like I'm like,
if you're not learning something, then you better be dead. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you're still living and breathing, you should constantly be learning.
That's funny because I say that to Jordan.
Have like a lot of research on them. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't even gotten into studies on the snake brain, like to what we have with mammals. So we should always have that open perspective of wanting to learn.
Yeah, I mean, I've said that forever too. Like the day I quit learning is probably the day I'm going to die because what's left, And I like that the people closest to me are always pushing me to keep moving forward and keep trying to learn and, keep trying to grow. Well, we're coming up on, I'm about to lose the snake. Hold on. Sorry, he's trying to go behind my monitor, and I don't really feel like having my screen broken, so. Yeah, so we're coming up on an hour and a half. Russ, do you have anything you want to ask or talk about?
No, I think I asked all the questions I wanted to ask.
Sorry, he's still trying to cause
trouble. Definitely a fun show. And they all are.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
Jessica, I mean, mine's crappy too. It's not just you. So, Jessica, anything that you want to say, or how can people find you? That's always a good one.
Where am I at?
Yeah, how can people find you if they wanted to?
Social media.
Yeah, so it's at Jessica's Reptile Room, and like I said, I'm just really looking to connect with more people, more keepers. Just talk and look at everybody's animals. I love when people send me pictures of their animals. So I like showing off my babies too, obviously, because like I said, I don't have people in my personal life to do that with. So it's fun having people online to be able to do that with. And yeah, and like I said, the YouTube channel is up, but it's a work in progress.
It's better than this, man. I still don't know how to use any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I enjoy your YouTube channel. Hopefully everybody will go subscribe.
Yeah, for sure. I realize that I forget to say this all the time, and I know we talked about it already, but please support USARK and USARK Florida in any way that you can do that. Like, again, there's plenty of free ways to go about that. If you need help with a membership, to either one, myself and a group of friends, we're always willing to help somebody get a membership. No strings attached. We don't want anything from you. I get it. Sometimes you might not have the money and you want to do it. That's fine. Reach out to one of us. but yeah, definitely support it. We need to support the people who support us because, I mean, I want to be able to do this for a long time. I want to see my kids be able to do this if they want to. And those are the only, that's our lifeline. Like, those are the only people doing it. So show them some love, help them help us. Jessica, thank you for coming on though. Definitely had a great time chatting.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go get something. I'm gonna go get something to eat, but everyone have a good one.
If you have a retic or like retics, go join TRL. When we hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, there's a lot of good stuff getting given away. So please go join TRL.
Yeah, and if you don't like retics, well, never mind. All right, everyone have a good one.